Hey guys, today I'm going to be starting up my very first original tag video, and it is called the Historical Fiction Timeline Tag. If you have been watching my channel since I've started, you probably know that I really love historical fiction. Historical fiction is my genre, my go-to genre, and I can read it in any other type of genre, whether that be in young adult or children's or adult or romance, anything. Any other genre, you'll find historical fiction somewhere in that genre. And I think that's why I have such a eclectic range of books on my bookshelves. So my tag only consists of 8 sections, so hopefully this isn't too long. And now that I'm about to get started with my tag, I feel a little strange. I feel like this is all self-indulgent answering my own questions, but oh well. So, question number 1. How do you personally define historical fiction? I did a video a couple months ago where I was talking about historical fiction, and I defined historical fiction in that video. If you want to watch that whole video, I'll leave a link to that in the description below, but really quickly, I define historical fiction as pretty much anything that takes place in the past. I kind of stop at 1945, the end of World War II. Technically, you can go into the 50s and 60s and 70s and 80s and even yesterday's history. But I personally like to stop somewhere between World War II and sometimes even into the 1950s and 60s. I know the general stop date for historical fiction is usually defined as anything taking place 50 years prior to whatever your current date is. So whatever your personal preference is, whether that be 1945 or the over 50 year thing, go whichever one you want. My big thing is that historical fiction does not include classic literature. Yes, I have come across some people who think classic literature is part of historical fiction when it's not. Things like Great Expectations and Jane Eyre and Pride and Prejudice, stuff like that was written in that time period. It was considered modern at the time. It may sound like historical fiction to us today as modern readers, but that type of stuff is not historical fiction. Question number 2. What are your favorite time periods in history that you enjoy reading the most? And I have quite a few. I really enjoy anything that deals with the Borgias, the Plantagenets, the Tudors, pretty much that whole big chunk of history right there. And my bookshelves are pretty much full of that chunk. I also really love anything with the Titanic, which is 1912. And I also highly enjoy anything dealing with World War I and II. Question number 3. Is there a time period in history that you do not enjoy reading? I don't know. For me, I read just about anything in any given century or era, but I do notice that I don't have anything related to the Civil War or the American Revolution. I noticed that I actually have a very large lack of American history. I actually have a lot of European history, which is my favorite. But I don't think I'd necessarily say, though, that I wouldn't enjoy reading them. I think if I did get a Civil War or American Revolutionary book, I think I would enjoy reading it. Question number 4. Is there a time period that you would like to get into the future? And I guess kind of going along with my third question, I guess I'd kind of like to maybe get into more Civil War or American Revolutionary stuff. And I've also kind of been getting into the 1920s. I'm kind of feeling the 1920s. I don't know if it's because of Downton Abbey and that's kind of getting me in the mood. I do think I need to try and read more things that take place in the BC eras, things like ancient Greek history, Roman history. I've only read a few things that take place in ancient Greece. Question number 5. What is your all-time favorite historical fiction novel? And oh my god, this is such a difficult question. I wouldn't even know where to begin. I think ultimately I would have to go with The Other Boleyn Girl by Philippa Gregory. This was kind of one of the first books that really got me into historical fiction and developed my love of this genre. So I guess I'd have to just go with Other Boleyn Girl as my all-time favorite. Question number 6. Do you have a favorite historical fiction author? Far and away, I think Philippa Gregory. I have the most historical fiction books from her. And not only do I have her stuff that takes place with the Plantagenets and the Tudors, but I also got like her Whiteacre trilogy, which takes place in like the 1700s, and I really enjoyed that. Question number 7. I wanted this one to be fun. If you had a dinner party and you could invite real historical figures or fictional historical characters, who would you invite? And you could have as many people at this party as you wish. I decided to go with the 6 wives of Henry VIII. That would be a wild dinner party. They would all either get along or they would all be bitching at each other. So yeah, as far as real historical figures, I would go with the 6 wives of Henry VIII. And as far as fictional characters, maybe the Infernal Devices characters, Tessa, Jim, and Will, and all those shadow hunters. They would be fun, I think. Plus, you can never go wrong with Magnus Bane at a party. So, question number 8 is kind of the big thing of this tag, and it is the historical timeline section. And basically, this part of the tag, just get about 10 books or so. If you have 10, if you want to do more than 10, that's fine. But line up your books against something and put them in chronological order. And just pan your camera across. And this is mine. So that is it for my first original tag. I really hope some people do this. So I actually get to tag some people. Normally when I do other people's tags or when people tag me to do their videos, I end up at the end not tagging anybody because by the time I usually get to a tag, most everyone on BookTube has done it, so I actually get to tag some people today. Yay! And just as a warning, you do not have to do this tag at all. A lot of you, I don't know how much historical fiction you personally read, if any, so you can either do this or not, but I'm just going to tag 10 people. So here's my list. The Gwendolyn Reading Method, Patty's Kiss, We Adore Books, Marco A. Sanchez, The Shades of Orange, Emma Gorowski, Cheryl 301, Books with Claire, A Mind Needs Books, and Odom Intha. So if you guys would like to do this tag, that would be really awesome, and then if you do it, make sure you send it to me so I can watch. Like I said, historical fiction is my favorite genre, and I'm just really curious how you guys would answer these questions and what your historical timeline would be. So that's it, you guys. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.